My eyes are open to the way I've been used in the industry for being Black. My eyes are open for how I've been used in the industry for being overweight, even,
Mm.
but that doesn't matter when you move forward. Think about what it is you want and why you actually want it. Do you want it because you're like, I'm a Black woman, I feel like I should have this and I should have that? You're never going to get it. If you think, well, I'm a woman and I blah, 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 you're never going to get it. If you think, oh, I'm an American, go in. I'm an artist. This is the kind of art I want to do. Let's start right there. And believe me, all those insecurities and all that other shit, you're going to rub it right off your shoulder and you're going to see a clear path for it. It may not be easy, but it'll be clear. Clear AF, for real.
Wow, that's great advice. Latanya, welcome to Unmute the Voices. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing okay. I mean, as we all know, this is a crazy topsy-turvy time in America, but I'm still trucking.
You are indeed still trucking, and I do acknowledge that things are crazy, but that has not stopped you. I just want to just take a moment and acknowledge your greatness. Since you arrived at the Academy of Vocal Arts in Philadelphia in the early 2000s, I personally have watched your career blossom into this mega opera star in classical music. From your 3 Grammy Awards, which I see in the background there.
Clocking them. Yes. Yeah, this is my bedroom, folks. This is where I keep the Grammys just so my kids don't break them, basically. So I felt like they were safest here.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
from your 3 Grammy Awards to your many appearances at the Metropolitan Opera, performances with the most prestigious orchestras, numerous accolades to your resume that you have, it has all just made you this world renowned musician. And I'm sure I'm leaving something out there. You have been on this joyride, this amazing joyride of career success. And I mean, you're busy. I just want to know, how does it feel to be so accomplished at this point in your life?
How does it feel to be so accomplished? Well, honestly, I guess I don't really think about how much I've accomplished at whatever certain point. For
Mm-hmm.
me in my life, I think about specific goals and things that I
Mm.
want to attain. And I'm never really finished attaining what I want, I guess. But
Uh-huh.
what feels good in a career like mine is when I have sort of streamlined all of my energy toward what I want and seeing it just zap toward me. These Grammys you mentioned, I was at the Grammys in 1996 at age 17.
Wow.
And I was chosen for a jazz choir. They choose 16 students from around the country to be in this jazz ensemble. And I was so honored to do it. And I remember being there and saying, I'm going to win a Grammy one day. And every time I had a recording come out, I was like, God, I hope I get it. I hope I get it. I mean, really singing the song, just really crossing the fingers and believing it wholeheartedly that it could happen. And then it wasn't nominated. And this continued on for about 15 years of things that I did. The very first recording I did major was with Deutsche Grammophon, actually, the Mahler Second Symphony with the Vienna Philharmonic. And I was about 23 when I recorded it. And it was one of my first big trips overseas too. And I was so overwhelmed by what the experience was that I didn't appreciate it nearly as much as I could have. I just was so shocked, to
Mm.
be in this situation so young, because this was something that I didn't ask the universe for. I didn't say, ooh, pull these recordings toward me. I just said, one day I'm going to win a Grammy. But it was a beautiful experience. And of course, the Grammy didn't happen. I did a recording of Macbeth with Chandos. Nothing happened. We did Ordering of Moses, all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Porgy and Bess came up at the Met, and we actually did a recording of it, just like every recording before it, I hoped that we would get nominated for a Grammy, and sort of in the back of my mind thinking, come on, Latonia, this might just be, a pipe dream. There's no way it's going to happen. Well, the pandemic hit. Porgy was nominated for a Grammy. And I thought, if this actually happens, like, in fact, if we actually win this Grammy right now, it would be 25 years to the day that I stood there and said it could happen. And lo and behold, it did.
Wow.
25 years, almost to the day. So
Wow.
I sort of think of things I want. I dreamt of doing Liu in Covent Garden. I don't know why. It's something I always wanted to do. And it ended up being my debut in 2009.
Yeah.
I dreamt of singing Madame Butterfly at the Met. Now, this is something that was so far-fetched for me, and I just thought, there's no way it can happen. But there was just that little kernel in me that said, it can, it will, like eventually, maybe it'll just happen. Boom. One performance I got to do of that Anthony Minghella Butterfly at the Met. And let me tell you, what a stunning experience. It was one of the greatest times of my life. So things like that happen. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
the unexpected happens and things kind of come toward me. But, did I think I would be at this point in my age? Yes. I'd love to sit
Mm.
here and pretend like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But of course I believe it. I asked for this.
Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
what I didn't expect is what form it would actually come in. These three Grammys, for instance, are for Porgy and Bess, Terrence Blanchard's Fire, Shut Up in My Bones, and Champion. And they're all operas in jazz. And jazz is, of course, how I got my start.
Right.
I
Right.
was I did classical music in high school. I sang in the choir and things like that, but I wasn't an opera singer. I was a jazz singer. And when I went to college, I was even a jazz major. And so I wondered all these years, how could I put everything I wanted into jazz and I end up being an opera singer after all of that? Well, those Grammys are proof of
Mm.
why this all happened exactly the way it was supposed to. I was supposed to be known for these operas and jazz. I mean, and it's
Wow.
it's been fantastic, almost unbelievable. And
Wow.
but at the same time, it has not been a fantastic ride. I can't pretend like, this was always to my benefit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to jump into saying,
Yeah.
honestly, with a career like mine, I have always envisioned myself and thought of myself as the kind of operatic singer that was Italianate, an Italian bel canto type singer. Through the Metropolitan Opera, the pandemic, everything with George Floyd, DEI and inclusion, everything, I became a pawn in a game. And I saw it happening early on. I really did,
Mm-hmm.
where I was known for singing all the traditional repertoire and doing it very well, to becoming a token to be used, and put on a pedestal so that they could check a box. Now, I don't want to seem ungrateful for the opportunities I've gotten. I am grateful for them. But in me considering even doing these other operas, I knew that I would be taking a vocal hit for it because Champion and Fire Shut Up in My Bones, the roles that I did were written for a mezzo. This is not my repertoire. This is not my kind of singing. And it was completely out of my technical comfort zone. And it destroyed my technique,
Mm.
both of these operas.
Wow.
This is no slight to the composer or to the Metropolitan Opera as far as, them casting me in these things. But what it did do is cause vocal detriment to a
Mm-hmm.
lyric soprano that was always living in La Boheme land. I did so many
Right.
Mimis, butterflies,
Right.
and yes, Aida, which was another role where I started singing it in 2009,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely should not have. I wasn't ready to sing Aida,
Right.
but I was Black. And I was
Mm.
singing a lot of Verdi in Europe. And my manager at the time wanted to take advantage of the fact that I was Black and I was sounding good, even though we both fully knew that it was too early.
It was all about the money at that point.
To my manager, absolutely all about the money. And so he definitely convinced me, look, it's okay, at 31 years old, it's totally acceptable. Blah, 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 saying it when they're 30. this person did it and this person did it, but not really considering what Latonia needed, right? Just kind of saying, other people did it when they were 30, you can do it too. But I wasn't ready. It wasn't for me. My voice was still nice and flowy and lyric, and I loved doing soaring, sparkling, youthful lines. And suddenly I turned into a more dramatic sort of soprano singing Aida. I ran into this conductor, an Italian conductor, who told me, your Aida is too light and your voice is just too light for Aida. And I said, I know. I've been saying this. Goodness, I'm glad somebody agrees. He said, so you need to darken it. You need to sing with more power. You need to sing
Mm.
um, in a more regal way and thrust
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
more
Mm-hmm.
chest and things like that.
How do you navigate through those types of challenges when you don't know exactly that you're being exploited, which is what it sounded like happened for you?
The way to navigate it is just sort of go with whatever instincts you have. And my instincts were to trust the professionals who have been doing it for 3 decades. That's what I thought. This guy has been conducting AIDA all over the world. Surely he knows what he's talking about. I need to
Right.
trust that this is what I need to do. And of course, it did not work out for me. So there've been some people in the business who've blamed my pregnancy, for vocal detriment.
Wow.
Yeah, that had something to do with the support wise, like with my breath. But no, it was fully me trying to force my mechanism to sound like something to please the masses. It
Sure.
was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. And I absolutely regret it. And I would never encourage another young singer to say, well, the Leontine did it when she was this age. Scotto did it when she was this age. Those two singers have nothing to do with me or whatever singer I'm
Mm-hmm.
teaching in the future. They're nothing to do with you in the end. Not,
Sure.
you cannot take somebody else's path of career and copy it. It'll never fit because it's not your path, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
these were hard knocks times for somebody like me. I was just like, I was learning it all the really hard way. You know,
Mm.
after I had children, especially my second child, my voice changed. I went through a vocal drop. I was almost 38 years old and my voice changed and I didn't know what was going on. And this was
Mm.
by 2017. I was still singing Aida, so okay. And by this point had
Mm-hmm.
finally been cast for my first Serena ever
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
through the Metropolitan Opera production, which
Mm-hmm.
first took place at the English National Opera in 2018. I loved initially singing Serena, although I still thought that it was too low. Like the bulk of the role, I thought was just too low. It wasn't quite soaring enough of the time for me. And I really didn't want to drive in the chest voice at all.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it was a necessity because I had lots of people in my ear telling me the way it should go because
Mm-hmm.
I was newer on the porgy circuit. Like I was a soprano who was asking to
Mm-hmm.
be put into porgy in America and people telling me no. Mostly because
Mm.
they were like, no, we want Karen Slack. No, we love Angela Brown. And I love them too. But I was like,
Yeah.
dang, the girl can't even get a performance. It was
Right.
driving me nuts, especially because I was never one of those people that shied away from porgies simply because of my upbringing in jazz. I'm
Sure.
like,
Sure.
I've been singing and ain't necessarily so in summertime, and I got plenty of nothing since I was a teenager. So
Right.
for me, I was just like, please let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
first porgy was actually a concert version in Berlin with the Berlin Philharmonic, and I was best. And the
Mm-hmm.
same for my second porgy, I was also best in the
Mm-hmm.
concert version. Once I started doing Serena, I started doing things that I thought dramatically needed to happen in the role. And I
Mm-hmm.
carried that same sort of forcefulness to Fire Shut Up My Bones and to Champion. But one big thing I learned recently?
Mm.
You heard news of Paul Pliska, the bass
Yeah.
who recently died. Okay, I adored him, and he was very kind to me when I did see him. I think it was the New York Times. They did an article about him, and he said this quote kind of like this. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, okay? But he said, a lot of people when they pick up a role, they start to think about the character first. That's me. That's how I've always been. They think about the character first and how they would sing this if they were the character, like their emotions. He said, I don't do that. He said, I always first approach the role from a vocal standpoint because if I did it the other way around, then the character would guide how I sing it and force me to make ugly sounds and do ugly things to my throat and to my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've done, ugly things to my sound in order to communicate a character. I have until today always touted the fact that you should take a character first and really embody it, start to live it, say it in the mirror to yourself as that character. And that's where you'll find a connection between you and that, and you can sing the character to life. But it's been to my vocal detriment to do that.
Mm.
I'm doing Yenufa now, and so much that I've just sung on vowels. I know what the character is. I've heard the story before, but I've absolutely taken Paul Plishka's advice this time around because I feel like it will aid me in coming back to vocal health the way I need to. Of course, I can fake my way through it and just scream my way through this, find strategic arias to try to cover all my flaws, like a lot of these chicks do, but I'm
Sure.
getting sick of that. It's not only costing me work, but it's costing me my mental health because I'm
Sure.
feeling like something's wrong with me. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
to sing anymore. I'm getting old. It's perimenopause. It's all this and that. No,
Mm-hmm.
it was me just changing a habit that I thought was good for me, but was
Mm-hmm.
breaking me all along.
Unmute the Voices is sponsored by Key to Change Studio. Key to Change Studio is a violin and viola studio located in Renton, Washington, which allows middle and high school underserved students living in South King County an opportunity to take violin or viola lessons. For more information, visit their website at keytochangestudio.org. Now, back to Unmute the Voices. Just watching some of your performances, especially in opera, Latonia, you tend to embody the characters of whoever you're performing. I remember watching a clip of you singing the final scene of Tosca. And there's a moment when you run up on what appears to be the mountain. And while singing, you literally stick your arms out in the air and leap backwards off the stage. It was an epic moment. It went crazy on social media. I just want to know what was going through your mind in that moment.
Thank you for asking me what was going through my mind in that moment of that Tosca jump. It was raining outside, pouring rain. We were doing this outside on a racetrack. All right. Boiling hot because we were in Austin, Texas. And it was the pandemic, and nobody knew what was about to happen, really. This was May of 2021. I said, I can't believe we're out here in the rain on a racetrack, and this is what it's come to. This we've come, is what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of this mess. This might be my last Tosca, so I'm going to go out with a bang. Now, I knew they said, when you go up for the jump, you have to be very careful. You have to put your heel on the back of the platform, and you have to clock it with your eyes in the back. Screw that. I threw all of that out the window out of frustration for everything. Okay. And I got up there. I was like, oh, scarpia avanti a Dio. And I held it as long as I could. And I said, you know what? I'm going to just throw my body off the back of the stage.
Oh my
Maybe I'll
God.
hit something. Maybe I won't. But I'm fed up. I'm mad. I'm sick of it. I'm wet and in the rain. And vici d'arte, baby. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm living for the art and I'm about to leap for it. That kind of stuff is what was going through my brain. I mean, it was
That's
such a
crazy.
rocky steps. Oh, that's it. I don't care. I'm getting up here no matter what moment. I'm going, I'm I'm about to go to hell so I can kill this dude all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was such a crazy visceral feeling and moment. And probably one of the most high level badass things I've ever done on stage. And I've loved doing it. And I've seen other Toscas fall back like that. Angel Blue did. She fell back now in
Mm-hmm.
Covent Garden in the pride that I was filled with when I saw this girl fall back into that leap. I was like, my baby, yes. I was like, everybody should do that. Do it with complete abandon. I mean, you're fully protected on the other side, right?
Yeah,
But for
yeah. But
me,
that was
it
a
was
crazy
a
moment.
visceral jump, honey, and a big emotionally visceral jump.
You know, it's funny when I've mentioned your name to other opera singers, they tend to gush about how brilliant of a singer and artist you are. One opera singer actually said, Latonia Moore, she's the opera singer's superstar. When you hear other opera singers who are huge fans of yours, how does it make you feel?
It feels really good. It feels really good to hear something like that because my being an opera singer starts in when I was required to take a course like a chorus. I had to have a chorus credit in college. So I
Uh-huh.
joined the opera chorus and we did Pagliacci in English. And I was basically just Italian Villager number six. I was just a chorus member. But I
Uh-huh.
was so invested in this Commedia dell'arte and this Colombina getting up there and acting everything out. And I was a part of the village. I felt like I was transported somewhere else, that I wasn't even me anymore. I mean, this is why I decided to be an opera singer, so I can be a
Mm.
chameleon and sing roles to life in a way that nobody else really thinks of doing, like throwing
Mhm.
yourself into it wholeheartedly. So when I hear another artist say something like that about me, the feeling is pride and mission accomplished. And I hope I'm an example. This is the feeling. I just thank you. Whoever said that, thank you.
What sort of advice would you give to a professional musician who feels stuck and doesn't know how to move the ball forward in their career? What would you say to them?
For all those musicians that feel stuck, I invite you to stop doing everything like everybody usually does it. You feel like in your career, the important thing is you get an agent, you try to sing at all the biggest houses. You know, um, I'll sing Bohème and I'll do Travia. Maybe that's not your path.
Mm.
Go into the repertoire, number one. Go explore operatic repertoire. Do you know how many people run these companies that don't know L'Amore dei Tre Re? They've never heard of it and they don't know what the opera is, or don't know what La Valle is about and have no idea what happens in Act Two. I mean, directors I've talked to, they don't do the research, and neither do singers. A lot of us go, we've seen a recording, we've heard people do this, usually. Why don't you do a deep dive in the music library, and
Mm.
really start familiarizing yourself with repertoire? Think about what it is you feel good and you sound good singing. Because a lot of times you have a singer that's very unique who goes out there with an aria list of Si mi chiamano Mimi and Tu che dicevo sei cinta and things that we've heard a gazillion times. And then suddenly a soprano comes in singing Yenuf's prayer and you go, she's amazing. Maybe she's
Mm.
not amazing, but she found something that nobody else was doing, something she felt passion for, willing to learn all the Czech, which is hard, and present that. So try to go off the beaten path, people.
Mm.
Maybe Carmen is not for you. Maybe it's supposed to be Damnation. Maybe it's Zoffo. You never know. But
Mhm.
find your niche and find the things you're passionate about. Don't do it just because everybody else is doing it and they found success with it, or you won't want to continue to do the work it takes to maintain the success once it's yours. The only thing that's going to force you to really put everything behind it is if its passion is coming from you, that you're
Mm.
passionate about it initially. Don't say, I want to audition for this, me, if you know what you really want to sing is for Angelica.
Mm.
So decide the path for you.
Mhm.
Don't carbon copy and cookie cutter somebody else's path. Do yours. You'll find success. You won't struggle. You'll find a path forward.
Mhm. Great advice. In an ever changing world that we live in, we've reached a point where people are feeling uncertain and unsure, especially people of color. What sort of comforting words can you give to people who are feeling that way in this moment in time?
Well, the especially people of color part is one thing that always sits funny with me. I invite people of color, especially, to stop thinking about yourself as a person of color. Don't forget about everything that's happened and all your struggles and things like that. Of course, those are valid. They happen. You can't just sweep it under the rug. But you do need to compartmentalize everything that happened yesterday and before it. You have to do that. This is crucial. If you are an artist, you are not Black. You are not white. You are not Japanese. No, your job is to become the art and become a part of it. If you stop thinking so hard and focusing on so hard on the strikes you may have against you, then you'll
Mm,
find that those strikes aren't strikes at all. They won't come towards you at all. Stop thinking about that. If you are a vocalist, be a vocalist, not just a Black vocalist. You're obviously Black. You are a vocalist. You're an artist. Serve the art. You are a vessel alone. Don't put your own personal feelings and how you want to be talked to and how you want to be treated into the mix because they should have nothing to do with it. I have faced ass loads of racism in this business. Okay? So much. But one thing that I know is I'm much more than just Black. It will never be on the forefront for me. It wasn't before and it's not now. My eyes are open to the way I've been used in the industry for being Black. My eyes are open for how I've been used in the industry for being overweight, even,
mm.
but that doesn't matter when you move forward. Think about what it is you want and why you actually want it. Do you want it because you're like, I'm a Black woman, I feel like I should have this and I should have that? You're never going to get it. If you think, well, I'm a woman and I blah, 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 you're never going to get it. If you think, oh, I'm an American, go in. I'm an artist. This is the kind of art I want to do. Let's start right there. And believe me, all those insecurities and all that other shit, you're going to rub it right off your shoulder and you're going to see a clear path forward. It may not be easy, but it'll be clear. Clear AF. For real.
Wow, that's great advice. That's spot on. You have two children, and between balancing a career, managing your three Grammys in the back, when do you find time for social time, or do you make time? In other words, what I'm asking you is, are you open to dating or open to meeting someone and bringing them in to that personal time?
Hmm. So the personal life, how do I juggle it?
Yeah.
One thing is it is very important for you to continue to have a personal life because if you shelter yourself in and you only focus on opera and staying completely in that, then you're never going to grow as an artist. You have to live. What we do is a living art form, living and breathing and always aging. And so you have to go out and do what you do. Like you don't have to go get drunk and do drugs, but please go dance, people, even if you're terrible at it. Go dance, go move, go walk around, go see a street fair, do something, and you must carve out that time. Take your kids with you if you got to take them. I know how annoying it is, especially to get kid number two ready. Getting him out the door is nearly an impossibility sometimes. But, I make myself do it. For instance, right after this interview, I'm headed to Philadelphia Orchestra because my bestie called my niece who lives in New Jersey and said, babysit the kids so she doesn't have an excuse. I'm taking her to Philly Orchestra Friday afternoon. So I'm going. So I get by with a little help from my friends too.
Mhm.
As far as dating is concerned, I am actually in a relationship with an amazingly beautiful man.
Oh,
We've been together
okay.
since the summer of 2022. We had a little break in between because it does get hard. He doesn't live in America; he lives in Rome, and the distance can get tough. But the love is so deep, and it's so there, and it's so necessary for me because look, I mean, I am a fiery person. And like I said, kind of earlier on before we started the full interview, I was saying that sometimes I get jealous, but it's mostly in relationships. And,
Mm.
I need, fuel for my roles. I need to keep it spicy. So, my man does exactly that. He's absolutely amazing. Stunning, stunning, just smoke show man, beautiful actor. He's a Russian actor.
Wow.
Um, Wonderful, just absolutely. wonderful. And he pushes my buttons exactly the way they need to be pushed, bad and especially good. So,
Mhm.
should you make time for it? Absolutely. I'll tell you something real crass. I had a coaching with somebody years ago, and I was singing the aria Depuis le Jour from Louise. And he
Mm.
asked me full out, "Have you ever had an orgasm?" I said, "Oh, yes, I have." He said, "But have you really?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, I find that hard to believe based on the way you're singing this aria."
Oh,
And I was like, okay, I can react two ways here. I can say, "How dare you?" Or I can get to the nitty gritty of what he just said. And the nitty gritty of it is I'm singing it like this and what's on the page as if I've never experienced it in my life. So as soon as I reminded myself of the amazing orgasms I've had in my life, that aria started cooking, baby. Cooking with gas, boiling over, hot stuff. So, yes, I think it's important to keep yourself, percolating, keep it all sparkling, stay human, people, stay human, because Lord knows I do. Okay.
you
Here
didn't
you
say it's
giggling.
time for the percolator, did you?
Moving right along.
I know that's right. So you basically, in other words, live life, get a little extra, and then bring it into the role.
You must.
I
It's the
know that's
only
right.
way. Just to mention, offhand, crazy divas I know. I love Elsa van den Heever. She's
Hmm.
so wonderfully weird, is the way I like to describe her. She bakes cakes. She makes wild videos where she's doing weird shit in front of the camera just for fun, just for shits and giggles, just to stay alive and have fun. You
I
know what
know
I
that's
mean?
right.
People
Yeah.
who just they decide they're decidedly them no matter what. The other important part about you being you outside off the stage is very quickly, if you don't keep being you, you start to lose a sense of yourself and
Mm.
you start taking on the traits of that character. I was doing Lucrezia Borgia one year and I wanted to poison my best friend. I was acting crazy. And I really thought about poisoning him. Of course, I'd never poison Jesus. I love him so much, but I was having dreams about killing him. And it's because I was doing nothing else. Day and night,
Mm.
Lucrezia Borgia, Lucrezia Borgia. Once Lucrezia Borgia was over, you better know I went dancing. Danced my whole body out. Ankles gone, knees dead,
Wow.
and it was worth it. Just so I could be me and not be Lucrezia. Get the mind back.
Wow. My final question for you is what is your hope and desire in the coming year? Like what do you desire? What do you want to see happen for yourself in the next year?
What I want to see happen for myself in the next year is that I keep following choices because I want to make them, going that direction. Not laying down and taking a gig just because I need the cash, which we all desperately need. Let's call a spade a spade. But me guiding what I want to do. I'm singing Yanufa in Cleveland coming up because that's what I asked for. When I worked with conductor before, we did George Walker's Lilacs. And the
Yeah.
conductor, Franz Welser-Must, he asked me, "What do you want to sing here if we did an opera?" I said, "Anything?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yanufa." He said, "What?" He couldn't believe that's what came out of my mouth, out of everything. He was like, "Really?" I said, "Yes, it's fantastic. It's fascinating. I mean, just everything about it is so great." And he said, "Okay." Now, I thought he was just messing with me, but here we are. And Yennefer opens May 17th for anybody who's there in Cleveland. But I'm getting to do that because I asked for it. I was bold enough to say I want it.
Mm.
And in the future, that's what it needs to be. I will no longer just take an Aida just because it's offered. And I certainly won't take a Trovatore just because it's offered. Because do you know that is a bitch to sing? Oh
Oh
my God.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't even get me started. I mean, look, maybe I have a Verdi voice, but it doesn't mean that I should necessarily be singing Leonora, especially not now. Maybe 15
Mm.
years ago, but in the time that they're wanting me to do it now, I'm not going to take it. And yes, it'll mean I don't get the paychecks like I want all the time, but man, I'm going to feel good. artistically happy, not suffering singing mezzo roles that I know I don't want to do, not doing
Wow.
a soubrette role that somebody put me up for just because they wanted a laugh. Like I want to call the shots. So a year from now, I want it to be to where my schedule are the things that I want to do. Yes, I want to sing Mama Morton on Broadway. I sure do. Yes, I want to do Yanufa, and I want to sing Madame Lidouin, and I would love to do a jazz concert with Yannick, which we're talking about. But there are so many things that I want, and I'm ready to not be afraid to go get them, and not be afraid if it takes too long, and definitely not buckle just because of cash or because somebody tells me I have to do it. You
Hmm.
know, I want to do the art I want to do. Plus it sets the perfect example for my kids who are already beautiful artists. And for them, this is what they encourage from me too. The happiest they see me is what I'm doing, want to do, you know? And
Wow.
that's my path forward. Hopefully February next year, I'll be patting myself on the back for it.
Thank you so much for being on Unmute the Voices and keeping it real.
Thank you.
You have
Big,
always
big
done
honor. I
that.
love your show.
Thank you. Thank you. And I wish you continued success. And I mean, I've admired you and known you for a really, really long time. We're around the same
Yes.
age, and just watching your career and just you blossom as a person has just been really inspiring. And so I'm proud of you. And I really do wish you all the best, especially in this next year.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And the same to you. Thank you for letting me openly express myself
Oh,
without a
absolutely.
filter. Because I know
Thank
I
you.
need to keep the cap on it, but boy, it's way more fun if I just let loose. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Hey, you are most certainly welcome. And thank you as well to our viewers for watching this episode of Unmute the Voices. I'm Dr. Quinton Morris, and I hope you enjoy your day.